Mambo, karibu kwetu. I am bintimalu, and this is the tuonge episode with bintimalu. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe, and I kind of hope you're in good spirits. But even if you're not, I think that is okay. Actually, I know that it's okay. It's not a good thing to always be happy. There's sometimes you need to be sad, or you deserve to be sad. Makes it seem like I'm a bad person saying that anyone deserves to be sad. But I feel like there's so much you can learn from sadness, just as much as you can learn from happiness. So whatever situation you're in, you're going to get through it. Whether you're happy or you're sad, hopefully this episode will have a positive impact on you. Today we are going to talk about the people pleaser. Are you one of them? If you're not, I envy you. If you are, I can relate to you. One of the definitions of a people pleaser is a person who has an emotional need to please others, often at the expense of his or her own needs or desires. If you've been following me on my platforms, whether it's YouTube or Instagram or reading my blog post, I have mentioned several times that I struggle with being a people pleaser. I feel like either 2018 or 2019 is when I started speaking about it and started to make the changes to be less of a people pleaser. At a point, it was really bad. I feel like when I was going in high school and university, it was terribly bad. But after I finished university, I feel like I started to discover myself, and one of the traits that I knew that I needed to change was being a people pleaser. It's not something that I've completely let go of, but I'm making baby steps, and I'm farther along in the right direction than I was before. Here are some of the traits that I have or had that made me and makes me consider myself as a people pleaser. Listen carefully to these traits, and if you have any of them, hit me up. We have something in common right here. Number 1 was the need for people to like me, especially strangers. Number 2 was having a hard time saying no to people. Number 3 is that I did certain things to fit in or for people to think that I'm cool. Number 4 is that I love compliments from other people. Number 5 was seeking validation from others. Number 6 was trying to avoid conflict with people I'm not used to. Number 7 was not admitting when I get hurt. And number 8 is very concerned about disappointing people. Now, these are just 8 traits that I have that I can think of from the top of my head. There's so many other traits that I might have or that other people pleasers might have that are not on this list. And I think the ones that are most common with a lot of people pleasers, one of them is having a hard time to say no. Another one is seeking validation from other people. And I feel like that's the most toxic trait to have, because when you're trying to seek validation in the wrong people, you'll end up being in a toxic relationship with yourself. You'll have so much self-hatred, you'll despise yourself, when the truth is that the person you're seeking validation in is the wrong person. I feel like it's easier to say that you should seek validation from God and from your journey in your life, and maybe from people who want good for you, but it's really hard to implement that in your life. And I feel like a lot of us struggle with this. I struggled with this at some point in my life. I would seek validation from people who are close to me. I will seek validation from people who didn't wish me well. I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but I seek validation from people who didn't know what they wanted in their own lives. I feel like they're going through their own struggles, And for some reason, I needed validation from them. And at some point, I think it messed me up. But then thank God I caught myself when I was going through that breakage, and I was able to slowly back off from that. And then another one is that the disappointing people. Now I feel like all of us are afraid of disappointing other people. I don't think there's any person who doesn't care whether they're going to disappoint their friends or their family or people who depend on them. But then there's some of us who are like very concerned with disappointing anybody. It doesn't matter if someone is important to you, it doesn't matter if someone is not. You just don't want to disappoint someone. And that's an extreme. So if you're at that extreme, the chances are you're likely a people pleaser. So my question to you will be, can you relate to any of these traits? As I've often done in the previous episode, I asked some people 2 questions. One of them was, are you a people pleaser? And the second one is, how has being one or not being one impacted your life? And here are some of the responses.
Hello. So I'll try to answer this as perfect as I can with the time that I'm given, or even less. So from the questions, for question number 1, yes, I'm a people pleaser. I sometimes prefer it to like the most weakest of my characters. And yeah, how it has impacted my life. Well, it's actually hard to notice, but yeah, to an extent it has impacted my life, because I am a people pleaser, but mostly to people that I care about, I can say, or family or people I make connections with. So I try to please them, and yeah, it has an impact in my life, whereas it kind of makes them dependent on me. So I'm in a situation where, because I like pleasing them, they also like to be pleased. So yeah, I think that's the way it has impacted my life. So it makes people more dependent, so I take the role of taking care of people. Most of the time I do the taking caring of, and I think that comes from the pleasing people. Though sometimes it can feel like it's a lot of pressure on you, but it doesn't have an off switch. If it did, I'd just off it away, but it doesn't, so I have to deal with it. It's actually not a bad thing, but yeah, I think I answered the question fully, and do not hesitate to comment or critique, or if you wanted me to add something else, or if I understood the question in a different way than you intended, just tell me and I'll make another one. Okay, thank you.
So up until a few years back, when I was younger, if you ask me this, the answer would be yes, of course, because that's what I've always been. I found it difficult to say no to anything, really. I would go an extra mile for another person to make them feel special, loved, despite the fact that they wouldn't do the same for me, or despite the fact they probably don't even know me, they barely know me, I barely cross their mind, but for years I'll put them first before me. I worry about other people's well-being before my own. other people's opinion about me. It matters before my own opinion, what they want, what they need. So I've always felt the need to please other people. I would meet a new person and I would make an effort for them to like me. I would say sorry for things that I didn't even do wrong, but I would be like, they wanted to say sorry. And I would let things slide, just to make another person feel good. It's quite exhausting, But now that I'm grown and I've had to learn the hard way that you can't really please everyone, Sometimes you gotta put yourself first. You gotta be selfish, It's not really selfish, but I don't know. I've learned not to be quite a people pleaser. I've learned to put myself first. It mainly came from me being disappointed by the same people that I was trying to please. So, don't get me wrong, it never really comes as a chore for me to make another person feel good before myself. It falls so natural. It never crossed my mind when I'm doing it. But afterwards, when I get disappointed by them, then I'm like, oh my God, I should have put myself first, and I think about all that stuff. But right now, I've gradually learned to put myself first. I set boundaries. I can't please everyone, of course. We all know that. At first, when I started doing this, it felt a bit selfish, It's not a natural thing for me. And of course, there's a thin line between you picking yourself first before trying to please another person. So it feels selfish and all, but now, as I speak, I love myself more. I put my mental health, my emotional, my physical well-being first before I try to please another person. But don't get me wrong, I'm gonna always be the kind of person that feels the need to make another person feel good. But I've learned to do it and still find peace within myself. There's no better feeling than sitting alone with your own thoughts, right? And then you can truthfully say, despite all, I'm at peace. Despite doing all these things, I'm at peace. So, with that being said, I'm no longer a people pleaser. I am my own pleaser. I feel good, then I'll put another person and make them feel good. And in the end, I'll look back and say, maybe I won't even think about it, Yeah, so that's that.
Back at it again with some lively questions. So there are two questions. Are you a people pleaser? Or how does being a people pleaser or not being one impacted your life? Well, I don't categorize myself as a people pleaser because I know once I'm fed up with some people's bullshit, I just end up not pleasing anyone. The only time I would say I am a people pleaser when I want something from you. So I don't think if I'm a people pleaser. How has it impacted my life? I don't know. Maybe I've lost some few friends or colleagues from not being a people pleaser. Well, and some people are not meant to stay in your life. So from not being a people pleaser, it made me lose some few of my friends, and it made me gain some few of my friends as well. So it's a win-win scenario for me.
I am not a people pleaser, I would say. By not being a people pleaser, I've been able to make decisions that affect my life without worrying what somebody is going to think or somebody even questioning my decisions. By not being worried about people pleasing, I'm able to make decisions and make mistakes even, but I'm able to learn from them and be a better person. Even though I would say I care what my parents think of me or think about my decisions, I still don't feel that I do things to please them. at the end of the day, I know that I have a life to live, and my parents have a life to live, and everybody has a life to live. So that's probably what I would say.
So, for question number 1, I am not a people pleaser. I don't think I am anyway. And as for question number 2, I think that it has impacted my life in a few different ways, but I think they're like two major impacts. And the first one would be that I stay true to myself even when my opinion is different from others. And I think 2 would be that people are just naturally drawn to me because they see my authenticity, I can say. But yeah, I hope I answered your questions.
Hello, how should I start this? But my name is Francis Peter. I am a photographer, lifestyle photographer based in 𝚑𝚑𝚎𝚑𝚎𝚘, Tanzania. So for the first question, I would say yes, I'm a people pleaser. And for the second question, I would say being a people pleaser, it's actually, yes, affected or impacted my life in some sort of way. Negative most of the times, because people would tend to take advantage of me being a people pleaser. So for the instance, I would relate this to my career as a photographer. So I will usually give people like good services, and some people will be like, okay, we're going to pay you later. And
Alright, so for these next ones, I'm going to read the responses that were sent. The first one is, I used to be, I'm working to change that. It's been successful and there's still a long way to go. Pleasing people prevent you from being honest with others and yourself. You choose fake peace for honest confrontation. And then the next person said, on the question on whether you're a people pleaser or not, I am, but it has a limit, I think. I will often sacrifice my own comfort to make others comfortable, but I don't think it's up to the extent of my own discomfort. And the second question was, how has it impacted your life? The response was, being a people pleaser often results in putting other people's needs or want first. So basically, I think what she or he meant is that when you're a people pleaser, your needs are not a priority. Other people's needs and wants become your first priority. I don't think I have been a people pleaser, but I have definitely been influenced before. I hate putting myself in uncomfortable situations, so what I do best is run away from discomfort. Hence, I always check if I'm comfortable enough with my actions or words. Not being a people pleaser, I believe, has helped me in terms of being content with myself and not wanting to fit a certain bubble people make. In terms of my morals and values, it has helped me to stick to them. I believe this also helped me when it comes to choosing friends. Some friends, when you don't do something they expect you to do, they might disqualify you. So really, if they can't accept you as you are regardless, then that friendship is not real and it is bound to break regardless of whether you do or don't do this or that. So how has being a people pleaser impacted my life personally from my experience? One of the things that I became aware of was that I was not being true to myself. I was not genuine with what I wanted or how I did certain things. I would do things to make other people happy, and then my happiness was not a priority at all. And I feel like when I recognized how toxic my people pleasing habit was, that's when I started embarking on the self-love journey that I talk about a lot in a lot of the platform, actually all of the platforms that I'm on. And I think if you're a people pleaser, I think part of you is struggling with self-love. Now, as you had before, there are some strong individuals who are like, this is my life. I will do what I believe in. I will carry myself the best way I think. And people are going to either be with me or they're going to be against me. That's their choice. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be true to myself. Those kind of people, I commend you. Yani hongera sana. You're at a different place than most of us than me. And I don't know if your self-love journey is good, but I get the impression it's good, because if you're at that point, you have to love and care for yourself to some extent, to be like, this is what I want, this is what I need, and I'm going to do it. And either you're with me or you're against me, either way, it's cool. So yeah, I think self-love and people pleasing, they're intertwined. You can't be completely a people pleaser and then claim to love yourself. I might be wrong, but that's a conspiracy theory. Let's discuss about it. So another thing relating to the whole self-love issue is that when you're a people pleaser, you don't feel like you're enough unless somebody else tells you that you're enough. And do you understand how toxic that is? I mentioned earlier on that if you seek validation in the wrong people, your life is going to be so messy. And their life is going to be reflected in your life, the positive and the negative. I think one of the worst things you can do to yourself is seeking validation from mere human beings who are just like you and me, who make mistakes and who sometimes might not want the best for you. Now, I would say at the end of the day, your relationship with God should be the only validation you need. But then again, if you have people in your life that care and want the best for you, and you are having healthy relationships with them, it's okay to seek validation from them. In those scenarios, it's fine. But be very careful with people who you seek validation with, because it's one of the most toxic things that can happen to you if you're seeking it from the wrong person. Now, this is a positive way that it has had an impact on my life. I have come to realize that I tend to be more thoughtful of others, and I tend to give people the benefit of a doubt, one of those two. English is not my first language. So this is a good thing and a bad thing, but I choose to see it as a good thing. If you come in contact with me or if you talk to me at some point, I think I'm the type of person who will give you the benefit of the doubt until you prove me wrong. Especially with my friends. Like, I'm going to see the good in my friends. Whatever situation they're going to, whether they make good or bad decisions, I will be the type of friend who will be like, maybe they're going through something difficult. That's why they made that choice. And we don't know what they've been through. So who are we to judge them? And I feel like a lot of my family, like close family and close friends, would tell me things like this, like, you think good of people. You choose to see the good in people. And that might be nice if that person is genuinely being themselves. But then it's terrible if that person is constantly showing you the type of person that they are, but you choose to ignore it because you choose to see the good in others. So being a people pleaser, the positive of it, which is also kind of a negative, is that I will be very thoughtful of other people, especially if we have some sort of friendship, or interacted in some sort of way, or I've come to learn of your story and what you've been through in your life. I'm going to be very extremely thoughtful of you. And then now you're going to go back to those toxic impacts it's had on my life. One of them is valuing other people's opinions and happiness more than my own. Again, this went on for a really, 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 really long time. Mpaka 2018, that's like majority of my life, 90% of my life. And I wasn't aware of it at that point. And even if I was okay with it because I kept telling myself, it's selfish for me to want my happiness more than wanting someone else's happiness. But then I never realized that my happiness will benefit someone else's happiness, if that makes sense. Like, unless I'm content and happy with myself and I'm being true to myself, I can't be true to other people. Yes, I'll do things that will make them happy and that will please them, but that's not me being genuine to them or being genuine to myself. And that, the outcome is never going to be nice. So, yeah, the issue about valuing other people's happiness and opinion more than mine, it negatively impacted me, but now we are changing it. We are making progress. Now, how did I change, or how am I trying to change these traits or these habits that I've had ingrained in me for, again, 80 or 90% of my life? I've started to stand out for myself more often, and when I'm disagreeing with something, I will say it, or I will let my thoughts be known. Now, sometimes you can get lashback, but you can get some people who disagree with your opinions. And I've come to appreciate that and embrace that, because at the end of the day, if I have somebody who thinks like me or who agrees with me, I don't think there is much I can learn from that. But people who are not in agreement with me, especially on matters that are not extremely fundamental, those are the kind of people I can vibe with because they're giving me a different perspective. So by standing up for myself, not only am I being there for me, but I'm opening myself to learn from other people's perspective and to just like allow people to get to know the real me instead the me that you want me to be. I've also slowly started to stop doing things just to please other people and start doing things that I genuinely care about and that make me happy. And as much as possible, I would try to be as honest as I can about such things. Now that when I'm passionate about something, you'll definitely know about it. Like, I will talk about it non-stop. I'm passionate about Africa, and I talk about Africa and Tanzania literally in all of my platforms. I put it out there. And if someone is going to come with like negative mindsets towards Africa, I will challenge your mindset. I will have a conversation with you, and I'm going to defend my country and my continent at every point. So, yeah, when I'm passionate about something, I'm all in. And when I'm trying to do something just to please others, I will talk about it every now and then, but I will not be as passionate about it. So I'm starting to say no to the things I don't want to do just because they make someone happy. And I'm starting to do things that I'm passionate about, that fulfill me and that make me happy. So those are the two ways I'm trying to fix the people-pleasing habit that I have. And as I continue to learn more about myself, to interact more with people, I will find better ways to cope with this or to try to get rid of this habit. And maybe someday I can be one of those people, like the ones who are featured here, who say that I am definitely not a people pleaser. It's either you're with me, I'm a goodbye. Until that day, I'm going to be struggling to be a better version of myself. And if you are, let me know. Let's talk about it. I feel like discussions like this are important. Many people might think people pleasing is a weakness, which to some extent it is, but it's not something to be ashamed of. I feel like people pleaser are one of the most caring people and the nicest people. Might not be as genuine as we think, but they try their best to make other people happy. And at the end of the day, if you're trying to make someone happy, you're winning in life. being a people pleaser is a trait that I'm working on, that I have, and I'm getting better at getting rid of it. Is it getting rid of it? I'm slowly reducing the intensity of that trait in my life. So tell me of your experiences as a people pleaser. What have you learned? And if you're not a people pleaser, how has that impacted your life, whether positively or negatively? This is a question for both the people pleasers and the non-people pleasers. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me. I hope I'll see you around next Sunday. I'm still coming up with a schedule for posting this podcast. But for now, Sunday is a definite day. It's just the time varies. So come back next Sunday, same place, and njoo tuongee na binti Malu.